I've got about a 2-hour drive to my hotel, so I'm going to tell y'all a little funny story of something that happened to me. Well, really something that happened to the girl next to me on a plane once, but it was because of me. So I have this thing that I do at night. I have these night terrors. And I'll act out my dreams, you know, and it's not as bad as sleepwalking. I'm just not all the way, my muscles aren't all the way flaccid. So I will yell in my sleep and I'll cuss. For some reason, I have like nighttime Tourette's because I say the darndest things in my sleep. I'll just be in there cussing and punching, you know, punching the wall. I mean, my kids and my wife, they think it's hilarious, and she's always like trying to record me doing it, you know. But anyway, so I'm on the plane. It's a 2-seater. I've got the aisle, and there's this chick sitting next to me at the window. She's like a college-age girl. I think she was going home for college or something. But so I fell asleep for a little while on the plane, and the flight attendant woke me up and said, "Excuse me, can I get you to stand up for a minute? The young lady sitting next to you dropped her earbud, and we need to get in there to find it." Now, at the time, that seemed reasonable to me, but I'm pretty sure they just needed an excuse to wake me up. So when I sat back down, I asked this chick, I was like, "Was I snoring? Because I snore pretty bad when I sleep." And she says, "Yeah, you were snoring." And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm sorry about that." And I said, "Well, that's not the worst of it. I have this fear that I'm going to scream something really bad in my sleep on a plane because I have these night terrors and I yell and I cuss in my sleep." And this chick looked at me and she said, "You yelled whore." And I was like, "What?" And she said, "You yelled whore one time." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, are you freaking serious? Did anybody notice?" And she said, "Oh man, everybody turned around and looked." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I hope they probably think I was talking about you. I'm so sorry." And she said, "That's okay. You know, my dad, he's in the military and he has PTSD, so he yells in his sleep, and I'm kind of used to it." And I'm like, "Well, you know, I wasn't in the military. I wasn't even in the Girl Scouts. There's no reason I should be having military grade PTSD on a freaking airplane, you know, but I've got it." And it's just, it was pretty funny. You know, I gave her a story to tell for the rest of her life, so you're welcome for that. But she seemed pretty okay about it. I'm sure, I hope she didn't think I was talking about her. I needed to have a longer conversation with her, I guess. She probably thought I was having problems at home and I was yelling about my wife. I mean, this girl probably thinks that this man that was sitting next to her on the plane, his wife cheated on him, and he's on a business trip and he's dreaming about it and he's yelling whore in his sleep talking about his wife. I mean, it's so funny when you think about it. It could have been a lot worse. I could have dropped F-bombs and I could have been swinging and hit the guy in front of me. You know, any number of things could have happened, but that's just that thing that I worry about. I tell you what, I especially worry about it happening at church. If I fall asleep, if I nod off at church and I'm sitting up there and I yell whore, oh my word, I'll never come back. Y'all will never see me again. To anybody that goes to my church that watches this, if that happens, I'm going to calmly and politely stand up, button my jacket, and I'm just going to tip out the dough. And you won't, I will be too embarrassed to come back. So yeah, I hope it doesn't happen. But yeah, that's my little funny thing that happened. I guess I've only done it that one time that I know about. Nobody else has told me that I've done it, but I know I've been snoring because sometimes I'll fall asleep on a plane and you know how you do that snoring, you wake yourself up, and I'll be doing that the whole time. But when I first started traveling, I had my earbuds in and I'd have them turned up all the way. And I didn't realize people could hear what I was listening to. Finally, on a flight, a guy got the flight attendant's attention and was like, "Can you ask him to turn his earbuds down, please?" And she asked me to, and I was like, "Well, that's weird." I was listening to Lindsey Sterling, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have been listening to all kind of random stuff on these planes with this thing blasting, and there's no telling what people have been like. Man, I can't sit next to this dude." I really had no idea. There are those Apple earbuds that are inside your ear, you know. I had no idea anybody else could hear it, but I took them out of my ear and tested it out, and sure enough, you can hear it pretty, you can hear it fairly well. So, man, I hope I wasn't listening to some Tupac or something. But, all right, well, I still got another 49 minutes till I get to my hotel, so sniggins.